sit in the middle, Chris. Right over here.
Right here.
You probably want to get closer to the beautiful lady, actually.
All right, so the way we're gonna roll this is, I'm sure, so many of you, let me see, how many Back to the Future fans do we have here? Let's see. Okay, so we just wanna jump right in. We would love to get questions from you in the audience. So if you do have a question, if you wanna come and line up right here in front of the stage, feel free to come down, don't be shy. We wanna take those questions. So who's gonna be first?
Oh, just like that?
Hey, Liza, real quickly, before we go to the audience, I think they're approaching, what, the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future? Is that right, Chris?
Yes, very soon.
And I was asking him backstage, did you ever think when you made the first Back to the Future that it would be as popular as it is today?
Not really. We were really just hoping to have a good opening, a good premiere, and a good run. But it just don't stop running. So, yeah, it's great.
You know, a lot of people don't even realize too, and I don't know if you people out here realize it, Back to the Future obviously was hugely popular, probably the thing that made you the most famous. When you, even though you've been on so many other things, right? Would you say Back to the Future is #1 for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been the most popular. There was 3 of them. Yeah, it kind of changed my life a little bit.
But he also won 3 Emmys, I think, for Taxi, right, for Jim? And he was Uncle Fester on the Addams Family.
Come on now.
And also, are you ready for this, Liza? He was one of the inmates in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes! That's great.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Are you really that crazy in real life?
I don't know. I'm not a good judge. Ask around.
Christopher, I would love to know, one thing we were talking about backstage as well was with the DeLorean. You're so associated with the DeLorean. We had a bunch of people here asking you to sign them. How much driving of the DeLorean did you actually do when you filmed?
Practically none.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, the stunt people drove it most of the time. We usually had scenes in the DeLorean, and the car wasn't moving. They just shoot.
Have you ever owned a DeLorean?
Oh. Well, I'm pleased to have one, but it hasn't happened.
I would think they would have given you a DeLorean because
At this point.
Well, I don't know. Not too many of them around. There's a lot of them here today. But they're kind of rare.
And you know, Liza, when he first came in today, tell what you did when you started out, the little parade that kicked off NostaligaCon. Tell the audience what
Yeah, we
happened.
had a little parade. I was in the last DeLorean in line and waved and did things like that.
So do you really feel like you're going back to the future every single time you get in? Does it take you back to a particular moment on set?
It takes me back to the set. It doesn't. I don't feel particularly that I'm going to go to another space-time zone, but it brings back a lot of memories.
Well, do you think we should go to the audience?
Yeah, it's great. We have a
All
bunch
right.
of people. Right now, we have reality changers ready to ask their first question right there with this camera.
Step right up, right through the center aisle, please.
Just
Go
right
ahead.
there.
So we have a question from here on the live, and this person says that they've seen you on your one-act play at the Community Playwrights Theater in NYC. And even as famous as you are now, and continue to stay famous, what drives you to still perform to small audiences in community theaters?
What?
What drives you to still perform to small audiences in community theaters?
I just like to do it, act. And I started out in the theater, so it's great to go back and get that feeling again. And you get to do parts that you might never do anywhere else. So, like next summer, I'm expected to do King Lear at the Berkshire Shakespeare Festival in Massachusetts.
Wow.
I'd never get anybody calling me to do that on film. So I'm getting, it's one of the great roles and going to the theater and seeing the opportunity to test myself.
And one more question from Charlie Hinojosa. He says, actually, Chango Mania, out of the movies you've already made, is there a certain scene that you would like to do again?
The scene?
Yes.
There's like films I like to do again. Because I can feel it, now I know what I wish I had done in the first place. What was the question?
Is there a certain yeah.
Is there a certain film that you would like to do over?
A scene in a film.
Or just, is there a scene you wish you did differently after you did it?
Well, that's hard to say, Sometimes I see a film that I did many years ago, and I look at it and I say, if I had the opportunity to do it again, I might quirk it a bit here and there, change this and change that. Because over time, you think about things you've done and wish you'd done it a little bit differently.
Do you ever wish you could get in that DeLorean and go back to the past and be Doc differently?
Well, maybe somebody will come up with a script. That's the number one thing, script. I know that they're saying they're not going to do another Back to the Future film, but minds can be changed. If a writer comes up with an idea and a way of telling the story that we haven't done yet, and it's just such a great idea that you can't turn it down. You gotta make that film. So that might come to pass. We'll see.
Have they ever asked you to do a Back to the Future 4? Has that ever almost happened?
I've been asked, and I'd be delighted. I'd jump right on it.
Why do you think it's never happened?
I felt after the producers finished writing 1, 2, and 3 that they had a full story. That's the end of it. But as time passes, I know there's a lot of fans who would love to see a fourth one. It might just be in their heads, and someday a great script will trigger it.
Yeah, because you look exactly the same, You could get right back into that role, man, and you could be absolutely loving that stuff.
Yeah, I was at a Q&A just a few years ago, answering questions, and a little boy stood up and gave the mic, and he said, "Mr. Lloyd, how does it feel not to have to wear old age makeup anymore?"
Kids say the darndest things. Now, in terms of speaking of the movie, Christopher, was there one particular scene that stands out to you that is your favorite, that you really love shooting, that you can share with us?
I was chasing a train on horseback in Back to the Future 3, and that was pretty exciting. The train's moving along, I'm clobbering along, and they wanted us, and in the end of the scene, the character Doc grabs the handles on the train and pulls himself out of the saddle into the train. They didn't want me to do that. When they shot that moment, they wanted the stuntman. And I was riding along, galloping along, let's have the train. Those handles were right there. I just so much wanted to grab it and pull myself on. I felt capable of it. But if I didn't get it right, it would have been kind of a catastrophe. So I'm afraid.
I love that. All right, next question.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. Hey, Christopher. Just a quick question. What's one thing you like about voice acting? Because
What do I like about
voice acting? Because I know that you, for one, have a really great voice talent. Like ever since the Page Master, DuckTales movie, Anastasia, and most recently Over the Garden Wall.
How do I like doing that?
Yes.
I like it. When I first started doing voice work. I thought, I trained as an actor using all of me. Now I'm just going to be a voice. But after a while, I really got into it. I love doing it. It's not as easy as it seems, because you have to get the same feeling into your voice as you do when the whole self is on film. And it's kind of the same deal. It's just the same task. But I love it.
Did you get coaching for voice acting at all, or did you just self-teach yourself?
I have voice lessons.
Really?
I did some singing, but way back when I started, I take voice and how to project and breathe and all of that. Now I just kind of wing it.
I'm sure you could give the lessons yourself now, don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
One of those master classes.
For sure.
What do you say?
The master classes that they do online now?
Yeah.
You could do one of those.
That would be interesting.
Speaking of interesting, Christopher, can you share a little bit about what it was like meeting Michael J. Fox for the first time, especially shooting the show, the film at the height of what was going on with his career? You already had gotten a lot of fame from Family Ties, so obviously you guys both went on to become, legends for this movie. But I'm curious to know, and I'm sure the audience, what that chemistry was like when you first met.
Well, it was sudden. An actor by the name of Eric Stoltz was cast as Marty originally.
Oh, yes. Really?
They had checked out with Michael J. Fox, but he was all tied up in his series, Family Ties. So, when I just say the name?
Family Ties. Eric Stoltz.
Yeah. The other guy
Eric.
played Michael. Eric Stoltz played Michael for 6 weeks. And I thought he was doing fine. He's a wonderful actor. But they decided they had to, after 6 weeks of shooting, that they had to get Michael. And they worked it out somehow. And Michael, one night we were working late in the City of Industry, shooting all those initial shots. And about 1 a.m. we broke for dinner. And then they said, please everybody go to this area because we have an announcement to make. And they let us know that the next day Michael J. Fox was going to be there, and we were going to be reshooting about 6 weeks of work, which is very rare for that to happen.
Wow.
So Michael came on. We were introduced, and we started being Doc and Marty, and it was effortless. They needed a certain flair for humor, for comedy that Michael has, and we had the chemistry immediately that never left, and it's waiting for number 4.
Did it immediately feel better with Michael J. Fox?
Yeah, there was kind of fluidness to it.
Okay.
And it's not saying anything negative about Eric Stoltz.
For sure.
Michael was just the perfect casting.
That's awesome.
You have another question?
Oh, actually, I have 2 questions and 1 statement. Okay, number 1, your first film role, Tabor in What Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you can remember that far back, when you first saw Jack Nicholson, what did you think of him?
Jack Nicholson, I already had I was a fan, total fan, from the movies that he'd done previously. Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, Last Detail, and 2 or 3 others. I never, Cuckoo's Nest was my first film. And I had no imaginings that I'd ever be acting with Jack Nicholson. So when I came out on the set and saw him sitting there with the other actors, I was blown away. And he was wonderful.
Of course he
Wonderful
was.
to work with. A lot of the cast of Cuckoo's Nest We were all young, inexperienced actors, and he just helped us give ourselves the best we had to give. And very generous, great sense of humor, and passionate, very courageous actor. Loved him.
That's what I thought. Okay, my second question.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you remember that far back with this one, but PBS Kids. It had a show about the World Wide Web as it was assumed when it was new, called Cyber Chase. You were the hacker, and according to reports.
The hacker.
Right, sorry. According to reports, you gave it your all, and were the hammiest as you could be with that role. Is that true?
Yeah, it's pretty true. It's pretty happy. He's the hacker.
Yes.
And he's always, every episode, he had a new idea how to get complete control of motherboard.
You do remember.
Yeah. And every episode he sets out with great excitement, and every plan he tries gets under, he never makes it. He never succeeds.
No thanks to his minions either. His two minions, you know. Well, anyway, thank you. I almost had my doubts about that. By the way, Gilbert Gottfried was Digit. Anyway, your statement. My statement. Sorry. Okay. On October 26, 2015, we all were given a message from Doc Brown about how basically the future is now, and we don't have to worry about it being absolutely futuristic in the truest sense of the word. Sir, you are absolutely right. I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
You know, you should be taking my place up here right now.
Yeah, bring him up. Bring him up.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's so awesome.
Christopher, that is a true fan right there, that man, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody that's asking questions and coming up. We're going to limit it to one question per person moving forward, just because I know everybody has a burning question. So you'll have to be in line. Okay? Thank you.
What would you like to change from the past, and what would you like to see in the future?
Great
What
question.
would I like to change from the past, or what would I like to change from the future? I don't know, because when I started out, I grew up close to New York City, and I knew what I wanted to do since I was 13 or 14. I wanted to be an actor. But surprisingly, I had no confidence.
Interesting.
It would have gone the way it has. I just figured there's so many young people want to be an actor or an actress. And so few of us are fortunate enough to have it happen for us. When I was in my late 20s, I had a luncheon with a relative that I hadn't seen for many years. And he asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I'm trying to get a job as an actor, and that's what I'm doing. And he kind of looked at me and said, Chris, wake up. That's not going to happen. It's time to get serious and get a real job. Didn't happen that way. So,
To that, Chris, I would ask, what advice would you actually have for young thespians or people trying to break into the entertainment industry that are surrounded by negativity, unfortunately, from family or friends that don't think that they can make it? Like, what advice would you give them in terms of how to pursue?
Anybody here who's aspiring
Yes.
to be an actor?
Savro.
All right. I tell you, persistence. if you feel you've got it in you, you feel you want to give something, you just have to keep going forward, in spite of being rejected over and over and over again. You just, I don't know, the more times I went to auditions and it came to nothing, it would make me more determined. I don't know why, I don't know where I found that, but I will not be denied. And you keep going and get your face up on stage, anywhere, keep doing it.
Did it take you a while, Christopher, to get your first role, or did you have success very early on in your audition?
I didn't have success very early on. Yeah, that was.
That's a myth.
I was not. What do you call it? I didn't rock it.
You weren't an overnight success.
It just took a long time, but it just kept building. Just persist.
I love that. All right, next question.
So, of course, there's got to be a lot of memories and things associated with the movies, but do you have any thoughts or fond memories related to the attraction at Universal Studios before it met its end?
Oh yeah. I was part of. They have a whole storyline that while you're waiting to get into the DeLorean to go on the Back to the Future ride, Doc does stuff. He talks about things to prepare you. And I went and with an ex-wife, and we did the ride about 4 or 5 times. And it was extraordinary ride.
I love it.
I don't know if you've been over to next door to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but they have a ride over there called Smuggler's Run, and there's a portion before you board the Millennium Falcon where you get some information from Hondo Ohnaka, and all I can think about when I'm there is Doc Brown. I feel like I'm about to get into the DeLorean.
That's right.
That's awesome. Okay, we have another question here in the front.
Hi, Christopher. How you doing today? It's good.
How you doing?
All right. Yeah, right now I'm in Cerritos Community College and my major's in acting, and I'm taking an improv class right now.
Thinking about what?
Improv.
Uh-huh.
And I always watch. I love the Back to the Future movies, and also, I get up every Saturday morning and watch this the animated series, Back to the Future. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. And I am. And I've also learned a lot of stuff from Doc Brown too, off that. Yeah.
What?
I've also learned a lot of stuff off of Doc Brown.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I was wanting to know. I know that someone else did your voice in that cartoon. You know, what was that?
He wants to know who did your voice in the cartoon.
What was that like?
Yeah, or like the cartoon when you did the voice of the cartoon for the animated series. What was that like?
It was you?
Oh.
Okay, so I watched it this morning, you know, and I was like, that doesn't sound like Christopher, you know. I'm like,
Yeah, as far as I know.
wow. Because I know it's not.
They had a voice, somebody to do Michael's voice.
Yes, it
And
did
he was
the.
very convincing. You could be in the same room with him, and you would think Michael J. Fox was
Yeah,
right there, but it was.
you said that in an interview. Yeah, when the video thing came out, and it was somebody else's voice that was Michael J. Fox's. It sounds exactly like it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
so-
you for your question.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Yeah. Christopher, look at all these people lining up, man. It must feel great to just get all the recognition and everything.
Hi, Chris. This is a question about Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
When he departed, when Michael J. Fox came on to play that role, did you already have your character already worked out by the time you were reading the script, or did you change aspects when he came?
It was still very early in the shoot, and I was still groping, trying to find Doc. It was working out, but I wasn't relaxed in the role yet. You know, I didn't feel I know how to make this guy work. I was still experimenting and discovering Doc. So at that point, the first thing I felt when they said tomorrow Michael J. Fox is taking over, all I could think of, because I put so much into every shot we'd shot for 6 weeks. And I thought, I don't know if I could do that again. I don't know if I could match myself. But with Michael's energy and all, we did.
Did you guys get an opportunity to say bye to Eric?
No.
Have you
He just wasn't there. He left
Hollywood.
that hour or so, and we haven't run into each other since.
Oh, you haven't?
Maybe somewhere years ago, but
you haven't talked to him since?
I don't think so. I wasn't that. We weren't that close. You know, we just met on the film. I knew of him and his work, but it was kind of sad.
Yeah.
When that announcement.
Isn't it weird how Hollywood works sometimes? Have you had any roles that you've turned down that you may have regretted later on, or?
Well, I got an offer for a role back in late '70s, somewhere around there, Scorsese film, and I just didn't trust the situation. It was the film in Spain, whatever, and I passed.
What film was it? Do you remember?
Something about St. Matthew or something. I don't remember exactly, but it might have been a better thing to accept it. You know, I might have given my career a bit of a boost with that if it went well.
You would have been good in a Scorsese film. Well, you'd be good in any film, right, folks? I mean,
Well, on the flip side, Christopher, is there a role you wish that you had gotten that you auditioned for that you didn't? That you think, dang, I know that I still could have really aced that
That I
one?
didn't get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share one with us?
Every one that I didn't get.
Is there one though that sticks out for you where like, that's the one that got away?
Yeah. No, I don't remember the specific.
All right, next question.
So my question is about the video game that you did in 2010 when they played Doc Brown in his younger years. Did they talk to you at all about the script for that, or did you have any involvement in it?
No, all the
did you
writing,
enjoy
Hale did all the writing, maybe with some collaboration between him and Bob Zemeckis. But and they wrote it so well. You know, you didn't feel like, gee, I want to go and talk about how this scene was written, because it ain't working for me. Everything worked. The conception of Doc and the language, the verbiage they made him to speak, all worked right from the start.
A quick follow-up to that. Do you feel like the game was better closure than the third movie, or it just added to it? Did you feel that you got more closure to the story of Back to the Future?
Back to the Future 3. Yeah, I feel it was good closure. It ended on a upbeat, and the story was fulfilled up until that moment. There weren't any loose ends. I thought it was filmed well. You know, it seemed like a natural. We've done it.
Thank you.
Next question.
Love the outfit.
Oh, thank you so much.
Boy.
Thank you, Chris. This is not a question. Just I want to tell you.
Could you do it? Speak just a little bit louder.
Yes. Oh, this is not a question. Just I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for everything.
So sweet. He's so cute. Wants to shake your hand. Can you share with us what your favorite movie is of the Back to the Future series? 2? There you go.
There's one feature about the Back to the Future trilogy. I've had so many people, including here today, who say thanks for my childhood, meaning that the Back to the Future maybe, but some others fill the gap in young people's lives at a certain time. And so many people who have seen the film, I've met and said because of the film, they became doctors or surgeons, physicists, scientists of one type or another. And it's a great feeling. It's nice to provide entertainment, you know, but when it really makes a crucial difference to people's lives, it's something I'm proud to have been a part of.
We have time for just a few more questions, so if you do want to get in line, now would be the time to do that.
First off, how you doing today, Christopher? Pretty good? Doing pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I just figured you haven't been asked that today. So Back to the Future 3, I like best because we got to see your side of the story, a little bit more storyline about you more than Marty, so I thought that was the best one of this trilogy, if you will. I thought that was a better one. But my questions, you did guest star roles in Going in Style, and you did a guest star role in A Million Ways to Die in the West. These are just little side roles that you did, but they seem to bring a lot of life to the movie, especially comedical, because you have that good reputation from Back to the Future. Is there anything in the future maybe that you might be doing?
Yeah, I'm doing something interesting about cameo roles. I remember there was a casting director in New York who used to say that there are no small parts, only small actors. And it's a point, you know. I have 2 films coming up where I have interesting cameos, but they're well written, and it's an opportunity to kind of channel a lot of energy and imagination into a very short period of time to fulfill certain needs to the script. And I love doing that. I love doing a lead or a substantial character role. But I've got 2 cameos coming up in the next couple of months. And I'm already keep me up nights thinking about it.
Is there any way by chance, is there any way by chance you can tell us what movies those are so we can go see them?
What?
What the movies are.
What the movies are.
Not really, I haven't done them yet.
Stay tuned.
One is called Nobody. And I don't remember the title of the first one we're going to do. That's not, I forget titles.
It was nice to meet you. You have a good day, buddy.
Okay, next question.
Did you enjoy making Clue as Professor Clue?
That was a ball. Clue. It's funny, an open, moderate opening. You know, it wasn't like a big deal. It was more, it had a greater run in England. They loved the game, and they loved the movie, and all that. But it's a film that persistently, even here today, people talk about Clue. They're like avid fans about it. My experience with it, it was an amazing cast. I mean, they were people who were, really had real careers going. And it was a wonderful ensemble piece because we were so dependent on each other. Well, it was a lot of fun.
I just want to tell you that I've seen all your movies like 1,000 times with my family, and my boyfriend right over there, I showed him, I played for him Clue, and he was laughing every single time.
I'm a little concerned about your relationship. If you've been watching those movies 1,000 times each, how do you have time for that boyfriend?
Talk about binging.
All right, it looks like we have about one more question, and then
Only one more?
yeah, then we're gonna do something
Chris.
fun.
Okay.
I love seeing you as Uncle Fester in The Addams Family. I thought that was a wonderful film. I have a question about the mamushka. Was that fun to do?
Oh, Mamush.
Hooray!
That was
Hooray!
made with Raul Jr. Bless him. It was just, it was great. And Charles Adams, still alive when I was at top. And he contributed to the New Yorker magazine, a cartoon every week. And my parents got the magazine, and I'd be opening, looking for the Charles Adams cartoon. And my particular favorite was Uncle Fester.
Wow.
There was a certain kind of mischief, a certain kind of evilness. He wasn't bad. He just had a lot of mischief. And I would look at that then when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And then decades later, I get a call. Would I be Uncle Fester in a movie? I mean, what are the odds?
What are the odds?
Yeah.
Real quickly?
At first, I thought, how is this possible? I don't look like Uncle Fester. But we got the costume. We tried different things with makeup.
Right.
And we made it work.
Right.
I love you.
Would it be possible if I just gave you a quick hug?
Don't pull me off the stage.
I won't.
This is a great way to end though, as we're gonna do a fun picture for NostaligaCon that we want you guys all to be a part of. If you'll just come up to the front of the stage.